Lave radio? It's even louder than me. Wait a minute. That can't be right.
Yeah, here we go. You got a ship right, you made it big right. You feel invincible because you're federal. Your Corvette's nice and clean, you ride so dangerously. You have that confidence that's only built through ignorance. Some dude is spinning you, interdicting in the blue. You check your standards fast, but with that ship your shields will last. The tunnel finally pops, a cobra made you stop. Well, it's his death you think it turned to kill. It's a bad, bad world. It's a bad, bad world. It's a big, bad world. It's a bad, bad. So here we go, right? Let's start the sharp fight. But when your cannon's full, he's not in front of you. Your scanner's empty, your gimbal's wildly. Aim at nothing visible. Oh yeah, you're miserable. You hear a missile lock, but this one really rocks. Your modules plummet, but this ain't what it seems. You're turning like a pig, a roasted fed-up thing. A cobra dances and you slowly fade. It's a bad, bad world. It's a bad, bad world. It's a big, bad world. It's a bad, bad. It's a bad, you got the view, but is he baiting you? You chase him with no cares, shock mines are everywhere. You're low, he jumps to cruise, your anger blows a fuse. You see him heading to a local port. You chase him for some more, you see him by the doors. His shields are off your mind, you foolishly retort. He files a check to make your gimbal's big mistake. They hit the station and you finally see it's a bad, bad world. It's a bad, bad world. It's a big, bad world. It's a bad, bad. It's a bad, bad world. It's a bad, bad world. It's a big, bad world. It's a bad, bad.
Lave Radio, transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
You're listening to Lave Radio, and this is the Dex Legacy.
Dex Island is a dangerous new nation. Made up of Dex Industries employees, it has a tiny population comprised of the brightest minds in engineering, science, medicine, strategy, and manufacturing in the world. What Dex Island lacks in population, it makes up for in concept. Simply put, the idea of Dex Island takes up space in the international consciousness. Globally, they are small, but their inventions are already changing the world. Nothing embodies the Dex spectacle or its growing presence like the flagship of the Dex airborne fleet, Angel City.
The invention we are about to reveal changes the face of warfare as we know it. It redefines the limits we place upon ourselves regarding the scale of our ambition. It proves that with scientific innovation comes the opportunity to think beyond our former achievements, beyond the achievements of the ancestors themselves. We are a small nation, pushing boundaries and inventing a new future. Wherever we go, our vision for the world goes with us. Wherever we are seen. Wherever we are seen, we are understood to be a force in the world, reshaping the battlefields upon which we tread. I give to you the flagship of the new Dex fleet, Angel City.
1,000 meters long and 300 meters in breadth, it is an engineering masterpiece. The brainchild of Dr. Osis Rivastava and jointly realized with the Admiral of the Dex fleet, Idris Moroweather. Angel City is the single most expensive and effective advertisement for Dex innovation and power that could ever be conceived by a human or artificial mind. Delivering Dex troops and hardware wherever they are deployed, Angel City immediately impresses upon those present the caliber of those with whom they are doing business. Such a large ship requires constant maintenance. Following his ordeal in Tristan's torture chamber, Ren takes some time to help his close comrade, friend, and pilot, Raya, with some routine repairs.
Interlude 4 of The Dex Legacy, starring Stevie Skinner as Raya, Charlie Richards as Ren, and Emily Inkpen as Otto, with music by Dr. Alan Stroud.
Get over here and help me with this.
How long do you think I've got before they come and find me?
You've been here an hour, so I'd say another 20 minutes, maybe less.
I mean, I did come here to drop off Osa's plans. It was you who got me into a major rewriting job, which Osa wouldn't approve of, by the way.
Idris hasn't let her on board since Angel City took off. She was here for the maiden flight, and that was it.
Yeah, she's mentioned that about 100 times. Not that she's bitter.
Idris likes to own his airship, and his fleet in general.
I don't blame him. I wish I could own something.
If this is going to turn into another heart-to-heart, feel sorry for me, chat, I'm not here for it.
Ouch.
I mean, I've heard it. You know I care.
Don't worry, I'm bored of it too.
When's your next treatment?
We go in tonight.
Where have you been for the last few days? No one's seen you.
Trust me, you don't want to know.
A mission?
A test. One big, stupid, screwed-up test. I don't think Nathaniel, or Tristan, or Devek wanted us to be out and talking to people, but Osa's found a way to give us a break. Varian's testing some new weapons, and Isra's being fitted for something.
To be honest, it sounds pretty bad. How long will you be in the lab?
A few days, maybe a week. Depends on recovery, as always. I would tell you how bad it'll be, but you've told me not to complain.
Yep, I've heard it. And it's not like I don't know, I've had treatments too.
Yeah, I know, and I'll admit I do forget sometimes. I can be a bit self-absorbed.
How highly evolved of you to admit it.
Introspective evolution is about the only type of evolution Devek isn't interested in. Though, it's not surprising. If there's one person on this planet who needs it, it's him.
Alright, let's turn this section on and see where we are.
It's looking good. I have to go. Nathaniel wants us back for dinner.
You eat dinner with him?
Sometimes, when he wants to lecture us on something. I expect it'll be about this test we've just survived. He'll be putting his spin on it. I'll get my jacket.
Where did you leave it?
In our cabin.
How did you three get a permanent cabin, exactly?
It's not like it's unheard of. You did.
That's different. I live on board. You three come and go.
It was an accident. On the day Angel City was due to fly for the first time, Osa and Idris were running around here doing final checks and the rest. Anyway, Varian, Isra and me, We were running around, getting under their feet, stealing bits of equipment out from under their noses and running off. They got so angry they locked us in that cabin just off the bridge. Idris put Isra under his arm and got me and Varian by our arms. He's a strong guy.
Yeah, I know that.
So he locked us in there and forgot about us. 3 hours later, they were ready to take off, and Nathaniel was asking where we were because we were meant to be down on the ground with him to watch the launch. Osa came and got us, and we were on the bridge for the whole thing.
You were on board?
Yep. We weren't meant to be.
Angel City. Cabin B641. Entry authorized.
And this cabin's been yours ever since?
Well, 3 hours is a long time, especially for kids, so we were playing games, drawing on the walls. Look there.
That's pretty cute.
Yeah, I guess Idris felt bad for forgetting us, or he liked what we did with the place. Whatever the reason, it's always been ours.
I see you kept drawing on the walls.
Yeah, we still add to it.
Let me guess. Varian, Isra, and you.
Yup.
You got the bottom bunk.
I'm the youngest.
Okay, let's have a look.
Hey, that's private, you know.
Oh, don't be stupid. As soon as you leave the ship, I could just come in here and read it all anyway. This looks fresh. Eka nome rubin...
Eka nomai robene tamone. It's Dominosi.
What does it mean?
Maybe one day I'll tell you.
Ooh, mysterious. What's with the list over Varian's bed?
That's all the women he's been with.
Seriously? That's quite a few names.
And growing. He says it's good manners or he'd forget them. I think it's more like trophy collecting.
Yeah. Wow. No names next to your bed?
Even if there were names, you wouldn't find them there.
Are there names?
Are you interested?
Not in you.
No? Who?
Isra's hot. She scares people, but she doesn't scare me.
She should.
I fly fighters much faster than you can run. She can't catch me.
Ah. You're assuming you'd make it to your fighter.
Does she scare you?
Sometimes.
Does Isra like girls?
I don't know. I've never asked. Maybe. If she does, then she likes both.
Oh, really?
You won't find names above her bed either.
It was worth a look.
Any names above yours?
I suppose we're talking metaphorically now. And metaphorically, yes.
Really? Who?
A few.
Any I know?
Sure. Faris?
Faris?
Yep. She definitely likes both.
So, are you two...
No, it's just fun, sometimes.
Huh.
So, what about you?
What about me?
Well, you're never with any girls, so people have started saying you like boys.
Does it matter?
No, but I shared. You owe me one. It's just good manners.
In that case, I think I do like both.
Ha! I knew it!
Well done, you got me. Not that it matters, there's no specific guys I like.
You know, it doesn't have to be someone specific for you to have fun.
You sound like Varian. Okay, I really have to go. Come on, get out of here.
Eka nome rubin timon.
I'm not telling you. You can look it up.
In that case, I'll never know.
What is it with everyone else not reading books?
You just heard Angel City Interlude 4 of The Dex Legacy, starring Stevie Skinner as Raya, Charlie Richards as Ren, and me, Emily Inkpen, as Otto, with music by Dr. Alan Stroud. The Dex Legacy is written by me, Emily Inkpen, and produced by Alternative Stories. If you enjoyed that interlude, please like, subscribe, and comment. It's the one small thing you can do to give a huge boost to our team, and it helps to make us more visible for future listeners. If you would like to support The Dex Legacy, you can at ko-fi.com/The Dex Legacy audio drama. Links can be found at www.thedexlegacy.com. At thedexlegacy.com, you will also find scripts for every episode and interlude, so if you like to read while you listen, you can. There's a page dedicated to the cast and a whole load of bonus materials including maps, the soundtrack, a gallery of character portraits and interviews. You can also sign up to the Dex Legacy newsletter for a secret link to me reading The Dark, a short story and prequel to the audio drama. As always, we would like to give a huge thank you and shout out to those of you who have liked our episodes, left comments and reviews, and subscribed to the show. And we'd also like to thank those of you who have visited our Ko-fi page and donated to the series so far. Every donation goes straight into bringing you more from the world of Dex. Now, here's a trailer for the audio drama podcast A Ninth World Journal by David S. Deer.
This is A Ninth World Journal. A careless experiment with a teleportation device has left me stranded in random places throughout the Ninth World. While trying to survive in these strange lands, I must find a way to reverse my condition.
A Ninth World Journal is a science fantasy audio drama podcast. Subscribe to listen or visit ninthworldjournal.com.
We'll share a link to A Ninth World Journal in the show notes for this episode, so be sure to check it out. We're also delighted to announce that David will be joining the cast of the Dex Legacy in the role of the Admiral of the Dex Fleet, Idris. You'll hear David as Idris in future episodes, and you can read a short bio on the cast page of our website, thedexlegacy.com. Thank you for listening. If you're enjoying the Dex Legacy on Lave Radio, please visit our website at www.thedexlegacy.com, where you can find out all about our cast, buy merch, support the show, and access bonus materials.
Some ships don't feel the same. Some fights always go one way. Core Dynamics, bringing you strength, power, and performance. The chance to fight the good fight and to destroy the competition. From the Eagle to the Federal Corvette, we can offer you an advantage in every skirmish, every battle, and every single fight. Because we know how to win every time. For the Federation.
Galnet News Digest, 5th of July 3308. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, we look at all the stuff Salvation has been asking for, speculate about the bloodbath that is likely to start on Thursday, and try to imagine who that mysterious hooded Imperial might be.
There are now 2 simultaneous appeals from Salvation and Azimuth Biotech. The first is for medicines and reactive armour, to help keep the conventional forces of the Federation, Empire and Alliance in fighting form as they fight off the Thargoids, while Azimuth struggles to follow the instructions for assembling their Proteus Wave superweapon. The other appeal is for more Guardian technology to help complete the superweapon. It seems that Azimuth didn't employ a quantity surveyor for the project, and they find themselves significantly short of materials. Both appeals are taking place in the HIP 22460 system, one at the heart of Taurus megaship and the other at the Bright Sentinel. Both are offering exclusive paint jobs for the top 75% of participants that look surprisingly similar to huge targets painted on the back of the spaceship.
Azimuth's mistake means that the Proteus Wave weapon is unlikely to be ready to fire until Tuesday or Wednesday next week, with Salvation's Thargoid whispering beacons calling Thargoids to come to the system. The expectation must be that virtually the entire Thargoid battle fleet will have assembled in HIP 22460 by Thursday morning, and that Salvation won't be able to fire his weapon until after the weekend, creating all the conditions for the biggest Thargoid-human conflict in the history of encounters with aliens. Pilots with anti-Xeno combat experience are urged to make their way to HIP 22460 over the next couple of days. If the Thargoids overwhelm the system, perhaps Salvation will never get a chance to fire his superweapon.
But if he does, then by the middle of next week, what will happen? Will this have been the last great battle? Will the Thargoids really disappear, as Salvation claims? Will all the anti-Xeno pilots have no option but to retire and return to a life-hauling bio-waste out of Van Maanen's star? Will the galaxy become unnaturally peaceful, with nothing exciting other than a missing Zihe biomorphic companion to fill the columns of Galnet? Somehow, we don't think that's very likely.
And there's another unanswered question. We don't know why the Thargoid wrecks in the HIP 22460 systems have been cordoned off. What is Azimuth Biotech doing with them? Is Azimuth making further attempts to splice humans into Thargoid ships? Is it preparing for a land battle? Are these Thargoid sites, that some have speculated might be hive ships, likely to become more dangerous when the Thargoid battle fleet arrives?
Mystery surrounds yesterday's broadcast by an unidentified young Imperial woman dressed in a religious habit. Cunningly hooded so that commentators could identify her as both young and a woman, but still be completely unable to make out any distinguishing features, this woman spoke in a clipped Imperial accent. Other than that, there seemed to be no clues who this new leader of a new and politically charged sect of the Thargoid-loving Fargod cult could be. So, let's look at some options. Who could this charismatic new leader, the so-called first apostle of the true chapters, possibly be?
Given that she's been described as young, we probably need to eliminate 131-year-old Senator Zemina Torval from our inquiries. Sprightly though she is for her age, you might be stretching things a bit to call the CEO of Torval Mining Limited youthful. Similarly, Emperor Arissa and Lord of Reparation Ursula Torquatus seem unlikely to be stowing away on megaships belonging to obscure religious cults. Torquatus is still in prison in any case. Imperial engineer Tiana Fortune and the head of Imperial Intelligence Saskia Landau seem to be outsiders too. It's hard to imagine why they might want to subvert a cult of fatalist Thargoid worshippers into opposing Salvation.
How about Princess Aisling Duval or Lady Astrid Minerva Duval? One of them's a liberal do-gooder, the other's an experienced combat pilot who married the figurehead of an isolationist political movement. While Aisling has been known to do slightly crazy things, notably freeing a load of slaves into penury, and while she's a known Salvation skeptic, both of these characters have better platforms of their own should they choose to stand up to Salvation. They simply don't need to lead mildly nutty religious orders to be heard. The options are beginning to run out. How likely is it that Professor Albert Tesreau, once member of a different religious cult, then the head of research for Aegis and a sworn enemy of Salvation and Azimuth Biotech, would disguise herself as a Thargoid figurehead and attempt to lead a shipload of gloomy doomsday cultists to oppose the messianic maniac who plans to inflict genocide on the Thargoids? Realistically, it's not going to happen, is it? The real candidate to be this new religious leader spurring the Thargoid cult into action against Salvation and his superweapon has to be someone who really hates Azimuth Biotech and the witch who runs it. Someone whose life has been transfigured by acts of unspeakable and heedless cruelty. Someone who knows firsthand just how evil Azimuth Biochemicals is. Someone who escaped with the help of a disillusioned scientist, Dr. Edmund Pierce, and made her way to HIP 22460 to meet up with him. Someone who is powerless, but who has had experiences that'll make the Thargoid cult treat her as a demigod. Someone who has been one with the Thargoid hive mind. Someone who has flown a Thargoid scout ship using only her mind. The only person who can turn the Thargoid cult from a bunch of nihilistic, end-of-the-galaxy doomsters and can use them as a weapon to attempt to destroy Salvation and his evil plans, is the person that Azimuth Biochemicals spliced into a Thargoid ship at Oaken Point. The test subject that survived. Test subject D2.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we join the alien worshipping cult so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
The show that talks about the universe of Elite
And the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
And the fantastic
community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from the current Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place?
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 398 of Lave Radio, the show that likes to talk about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Phoenix to Fire, Chief Archivist of Lave Station, otherwise known as Colin Ford, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder bar for this episode, we have, as per usual, our Head of Health and Safety, Commander Edelweiss, Ben Moss-Woodward.
It's hot, but not too hot now. It's better than it were, and it's going to get even. It's going to get even hotter.
Apparently so. We also have our Inhuman Resources Director / Captain Wonga, Commander Shan.
Hello.
And on top of that, we also have our Staff Liaison Officer, Commander Psykit.
It's very hot.
Not sure.
That reminds me of that quote from Good Morning Vietnam, where he goes, "It's hot, damn hot. Just got home from hot pot cooking."
Yeah, it's that hot little guys in orange are bursting into flames. Right, if you wish, you can join us live. We're hanging out in games somewhere. Where are we hanging about, Ben?
I am currently around the Bright Sentinel in HIP 22460 with somebody you might have heard of, going by the name of Commander Jack Little.
Excellent.
He may have just been killed by something.
So he's no longer a real boy, he's a dead boy.
He's a dead boy now, yeah.
Yeah.
He can always blame it on the puppet.
I blame it on Little Willie.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Now, if you wish, you can join Ben live. Are you in open or are you in a private group?
I am in open.
Oh, dear.
I may or may not be leaving Bright Sentinel.
You're just going to hang around there and hope it defends you.
That is possible, yeah.
Well, good luck with that then. If you can't get to us in game, you can join us at the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live. Click on the live chat. Otherwise, go straight to twitch.tv/laveradio, or go straight to Lave Radio on YouTube. Go straight to Lave Radio on Facebook, and we're even working on Twitter as well. So we will just go around the crew, see how they've been doing for the week, and we'll start this week with Psykit. How have you been, dear?
I knew you were going to start with me. I'm just trying to finish my dinner.
Oh, right. Well, if we can move over to Shan.
No, it's all right. We're good. It's been another busy week in Elite Dangerous. It's just been really, really warm as well. I haven't really gotten up to like a huge amount of stuff outside of that, to be to be completely fair. Just playing Elite, playing Neon White, which is a really good game. Highly recommend. Pre-ordering Stray, which comes out on Thursday or Friday this week. And just like, getting all hype and ready for LaveCon.
3 days!
Well, it's 4 days for me. Or is it 5?
I think it's
It's
5
going to be
for you,
5
it's
for
4
me.
for me.
Yeah, 3 days to Friday. So I think I'm arriving. I'm due to arrive about 2 o'clock on Friday, I believe.
Cool. Right. Well, then we will move over to Shan.
Let me see what I've been doing this week. Real life stuff. Finished Dad's eulogy today, so that's been a bit of a burden on me to try and get that done. It's one of the things you have to do, but whatever. Kitten number 4 has arrived and settled in. So he's been nicknamed Steel Rain by oldest mini Shan, simply because his name is Arthur or Artie, and youngest mini Shan, of course, call him Artie Target, which is our artillery, and a nickname for artillery Steel Rain. So he's earned his name by jumping on you and putting his claws out in play.
Right. It's funny that because I thought that was a kind of look from Zoolander, Steel Rain, but
No,
obviously not.
it's thing for artillery. Anyway, so I have been busy preparing for LaveCon, making sure I have 2 clean pairs of boxer shorts, plenty of t-shirts, and cooling stuff. Let me see what else I did. Oh yeah, last night I slept in the car, so I put.
How did that work out for you?
It was actually really nice. Actually, the memory foam mattress was really comfortable, and I had it in camp mode, which has nothing to do with Larry Grayson or anything like that. It's more to do with it's more to do with the air conditioning being on in the car all night. So it was just nice being able to sit in an air conditioned car and sleep and watch YouTube and Netflix and stuff like that until the morning.
Ah, nice one. Right, Ben, what you been up to?
So I'm currently in HIP 22460, as I said, because after we did some killing of a couple of Thargoids last night with yourself and Shan, and that was a lot of fun.
It was.
And hopefully we'll be able to get Circadian, properly, get him sort of properly murderous at some point in the near future.
Yeah, he's busy flying off to sell his fleet carrier because he's realised he don't want it.
No,
Do you want to know what the most fun I had last night, Ben? It wasn't killing the basilisk or anything.
What was the most fun you had?
Well, the most fun was when you were down
Well,
to 20% hull with caustic damage.
Yes.
And I was saying, hey, Ben, fly to me. I'll limpet you to decon you and repair you. And then gradually flying further away from you each time.
I did wonder what was happening with your ship.
Yeah, it's a good job I was there with Decon Limpets as well, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very noticeable last night, and I am sure that none of our audience will find this difficult to believe. Colin and I were roughly, between 1 and 5 kilometers away from the Thargoid.
Yes.
Shan was around about 11.
It did seem that way, didn't he? It's sort of
did.
trying to take the kind of standoff approach.
Mm.
I thought that was but yeah.
Yeah.
So if I didn't actually do anything, how come I got the credits for it?
Because you were in the wing.
Because because it's all shared. Even if you manage to scratch it with just one tiny little pulse laser shot, if you're in a wing,
you still get the credits.
You get the credits. So basically, me and Ben do all the hard work, and you get all the cash.
To be fair, Colin,
what's wrong with that?
Most of the actual work.
Yeah, what's wrong with that? We were just watching. I was just watching, making sure
you
that
impressed,
I
were
was
you?
on hand. Yeah, I was on making sure on hand to make sure supervising. I think is the right word.
I think next time we'll just let him take the Hydra on by himself.
After leading it in his direction.
Yeah, I wish there was a little something where you could actually fire off at the commander.
Can we
like
fire Guardian things at Shan and say, "Here, scoop this"?
Yeah, I mean, I'd keep on
Yeah.
thinking of Bioshock, where you can throw something at bad guys and it attracts all the big daddies. I'd like the equivalent for Thargoids, so you can fire it at somebody's ship and all the Thargoids go after him.
We don't need to. It's called a Colin.
Listen, mister, I got 2 of the blooming buggers last night, so, I don't think you've got any room to talk. Yeah, I must admit, I thoroughly enjoyed last night because I'm getting quite good at sniping with the
You were doing
Guardian
good with those Gauss cannons. Yeah.
Yeah, so, anti-Xeno turrets, or sort of multi-cannon turrets for taking care of the scouts, and the Gauss cannons for just sniping the hearts from a distance. And yep, I have a great deal of fun. And the Hydra still kicked our bottoms, and we all got out.
Yeah, the Hydra showed up and we ran away. But I mean, I had lots of fun doing all this in VR, which was probably certifiable. But
How come your head didn't melt? How come your head?
My head did melt, but it was still enjoyable and completely worth it to to see the Thargoids like that was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
VR in Elite it remains brilliant. As long as you don't get out of your seat. So that's basically been the extent of my gaming.
Right.
Apart from that, I did see Thor: Love and Thunder and not Ghost. What the hell is it called? And Jurassic World.
Oh, right.
So I saw both of them over the weekend. Both very good films. And again, I was enjoying the air conditioning for that. And then on Saturday, I did the opposite of the air conditioning and went out to the park, to our local sort of big park place, if you know what I mean. And had fun in the fairgrounds there and all that other good stuff. And there I didn't manage to burn, but I did sort of I was a delicate shade of red on Sunday.
Yeah. I will not say anything about members of my family not putting sun cream on appropriate areas and then walking around like lobsters. So,
Did you laugh at them?
No, I didn't, because I knew they were in a great deal of discomfort, and I felt sorry for them. It's this human emotion, Shan, called sympathy.
Yeah, but that's purely self-inflicted. I mean, that's just muppetry, really.
Dear. Yeah. What is this Lego figures thing? Is there something we can actually show on the stream?
Yeah, I mean, it's publicly available. We can share that if Chris wants to.
Where did this come from?
This.
Oh, thanks, Chris.
I was trying to get spellings of Frontier staffers and things like that for LaveCon. And I wound up on one of their LinkedIn pages, and I was like, he had that as his banner, and I was like, oh my god, that is so awesome. And I think we can identify. I can certainly identify three of the people.
There's no Sally. Whoever's got the
I don't know who's Arf is obvious. Bruce and Zach are obvious.
Yeah, as Lego figures. I should point out for those of you that are listening on the podcast, we've got a picture of 4 Lego figurines. One's pretty much obviously Arf, one's Bruce, and one's Zach. There's no Sally. There's just what looks like somebody else with the.
In the red is meant to be Paul.
but I'm not sure.
No, the one in the red is the one in the red is Zach, I think, and then the one at the back with like holding the Dyson exploration gun menacingly might be Paul. Although it could be Benedetti as well. There's the option for it being Benedetti.
It's too thin for Stephen.
See, I was thinking the guy in the fight with the mustache was Zach. Because Zach's got a little bit of the mustache action going these days, doesn't he?
Yes, I thought that was.
I just looked at that and thought it was Bruce. This does not make for good podcast listening, though.
No,
so it might be worth
doesn't.
moving on.
Perhaps we can ask him on Saturday.
Yes. Quickly, Shan, about the Lego figures.
Well, I was just about to say I think we should have Lave Radio Crew Lego figures. It's making me jealous.
I have one.
Oh yeah, no, those were Dockers and what do you call them? The Hutton Orbital Truckers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not Lave Radio.
Yeah.
It's we are separate.
And the other thing about why there's no Sally is female-looking Lego figures don't tend to look very feminine.
It's just a hairstyle, isn't it?
Well, and I have the clothes because in the Lego movie, the heroine lady, the reason why you knew it's heroine lady was because she had different coloured clothes on to make the shape.
Right. Well, moving on from let's have a quick look at what I've been doing for the week. Quite simply, it's down to three things. First of all, getting ready for my daughter's 18th birthday, which is why I'm not down on Saturday. Yes, I've now got a daughter who's 18 years old. I can't believe it. I now feel old. Second thing, I have been playing a lot of Elite. Thanks to everybody who joined in on the streams over the weekend. I was busy shooting bugs there as well, so that was fun. And of course, I've been carrying on playing Final Fantasy VII and getting more and more into it with every blooming game session. And then I made an unusual discovery because I booted up Battlestar Galactica Deadlock and found, because it's been there was a Steam sale, I bought one of the DLCs for about £3, and there's this mission thing which basically means that you are something like 20 jumps away from the colonies, and all you've got is a Battlestar and a couple of civilian ships to protect, and you've got to get back to the colonies. And it feels very, very much like how it is in the TV series, because you can't repair as much as you need to, and you feel like you're always being worn down. And I'll just point out it's a great addition if you want to. If you've got that game, I would highly recommend that game mode. And of course, I got Half-Life Alyx because that was on special offer. I've yet to install it. I am going to have a go at it at some point over the next couple of days, and yeah, I've had to delete War Thunder from my machine so that I can fit it on. So
probably
well,
for
that's
the best.
no great loss. That's no great loss, is it?
No, not really. So moving on from there, I see someone's put Wild Style in the chat. What have the devs said this week? Well, obviously. There was a Discovery scanner at the beginning of the week, which really didn't cover much. I mean, we'll be probably talking about it ourselves during this show. I mean, one of the things that we should point out is that obviously Salvation has upped his game a little bit. But the next Frameshift Live will be coming from LaveCon on Saturday afternoon, so there'll be nothing this Thursday. We've got them exclusively at our event. So beat that one then.
How many do you think will still be there after I've had a question them?
Well, I'm not there to supervise you. So I'm going to have to rely on Ben and Psykit to.
I think we can get Psykit to sit on you, yeah?
Okay, let's just talk about this for a very, very quick second, given the fact that we're joking about it. I have seen people say some really, really fucking atrocious things about things that they want to say or see happen to devs at LaveCon. Can we just put a stop to it right now? If I see anybody doing shit like that, I will come down on you like a ton of bricks. Space Mom has spoken, and she will be angry.
You get them told.
I just want to second that, Psyche. I mean, I was at the last physical LaveCon a couple of years ago, and there was a few devs there who were actually being abused, to be fair, and it didn't look great on the elite community. It didn't look great on the hosts, and it was actually counterproductive to what people were trying to do by asking polite, informed questions to them.
I feel like there is definitely a time and a place, and we are at the end of the day, we are adults. Everyone who is going to LaveCon is an adult or is under supervision, so act like it.
Do you think we can? I've just seen "Don't Anger Space Mom." Yes,
I love it, but that needs to be a Corvette.
Elvis Kremen has already threatened to deliberately drive his wheelchair into people's shins. So, yep.
Again, that's reasonable.
Is that people giving the developers grief, or is that he's going
to probably knowing Kremen, anyone?
It all depends on how many he's been had at the bar, I think.
I'm just thinking, does he give Arf full permission to inflict corporal punishment on
just
anyone
because you want
who
him
feels
to,
like?
Ben? Just because you want him to deliver you corporal punishment?
To anyone who feels deserves it.
Yeah, well, as long as I don't have to step in, then I think it'll be
I
fine.
will bear witness that Arf was quietly having a drink at the bar whilst that person repeatedly punched himself in the face.
A question for Clement: does he have Boudica style blades on his wheelchair? And if not, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I must admit that's passed me by. I take it you've seen comments like that in your chat and your streams.
Not in my chat. I saw someone on Twitter say something about I want to see people like, and I will quote this: I wish to see people exact their revenge on the devs for abandoning the console users, and then I've seen comments from other people that have been on YouTube that have been removed, and I just want to make it very, very clear, and I'm sure that this will be seconded by the people who are in charge, who are running the event. I'm sure that this will be seconded, but if anything happens along those lines, if anybody makes anybody feel uncomfortable in the slightest, they will be forcibly removed from the premises.
Yeah, they will be. We are zero when it comes to that kind of abusive behaviour. Yeah, we're zero tolerance on that. And
to be fair, any kind of abusive behaviour.
And let's remember, the devs are giving up their weekend for us, and if they get a hard time, they might not come next year, and it would. So yeah, it's completely counterproductive to be too mean to them. But Stephen Usher has also had a new point. So the corridors in the new venue are too narrow for blades. So there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, there is a line where everyone says, "Oh, he's very, very passionate," but that there is the line between passionate and going too far.
Yeah, that ain't an excuse. Not in my verse.
Yeah. And when you start screaming at people, I think that's your passion's gone too far. So, on that note, I think we'll move on from there. Sally has actually confirmed that the CQC bug that we mentioned last week, that is a priority that they're looking at the moment. So, fingers crossed. We'll hear about that soon. Maybe, I hope that something will come in August, the August update, or sooner. But yeah, it's one of those horrible things that they're looking into right now. Actually, there's quite a few other things that were on that thread that she said that is they're looking at with priority. Psychic.
Yeah, perfect excuse to put a cheeky patch in, wouldn't it? Cheeky patch before it. Just saying, perfect excuse. Oh, we fixed some bits. Cheeky patch.
Yeah, cheeky quick batch, just to get everybody in CQC happy again. Well, as close as we
Absolutely
can.
not anything else as well. No. The
Oh, of
cheeky
course not.
patch. Cheeky patch.
Yes, I wonder why that would be. Right, so there's not much happening in the way of development news this week. However, the in-game events have been something this week. First of all, on the 6th of July, the Federation targeted the narcotics syndicate, which was the Red family. So it looks like they're trying to crack down on basically drug smuggling, but they were using that right-breaking surveillance system in order to do it, which didn't seem to go down too well. Then on the 7th of July, two things happened. First of all, Salvation put out a call saying that he would like extra supplies to come in, and then, well, he got his vital supplies as for the medical supplies that we all sent. But then he said, "Oh, I'm going to carry on needing Guardian goodies," and revealed his stratagem, which was basically, okay, we're going to bait this system with as much as we can to get the Thargoids in here. And the Thargoids, sure as heck, replied the next day. All three megaships have come under attack from Thargoids. There are anti-Xeno combat zones all over HIB 22460, which myself and Ben and Shan were involved with yesterday and before. And yeah, we'll probably be going into that with a little bit more detail later. So that all fired off. Then on the 11th of July, the Red Family Kingpin, which the Federation were after, he completely managed to elude the FIA and disappeared. Totally. They've got no idea what happened to him.
Is that like Josh Verstappen eluding the FIA?
It's so funny. It's the I saw Zulu Romeo tweet earlier saying it was the F2 manager Elite Dangerous crossover that we never knew that we needed.
Yes. I'm not going to say anything about orange smoke on the track yesterday on Sunday, but yeah, let's move on. And today, on the 12th of July, Salvation completed his first CG asking for Guardian artifacts and said, right, okay, that's phase 1, so let's have phase 2. So, yeah. Jean?
Do we think they're sort of just treading water, or do you think this phase 2 was planned? If you see what I mean, because it seems a bit. Because you'd think he would say phase 1 of the plan is this, phase 2 is.
He did.
Due next week, or do you think they think crumbs we've got?
He did on Tuesday. And the last time he did the thing, he was like, "This phase 1, this initial phase of the plan, will last for a week."
Mm-hmm. And so we're now into phase 2. How many phases are there? Does anybody know?
I don't know. It depends on how many weeks away update 13 is, I would have thought.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing that I am a little disappointed about, because I'm there thinking, oh, are they stretching this out to update 13 then?
So I think probably not.
Okay.
And my reason being for why I think probably not is the reward skin, the surprise Pikachu face that you can get on the back of your crate this time is gold. So unless they suddenly come up with a diamond or something like that, I think that might be it for this particular phase or reward.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably touch on this later. I take it you. Oh, sorry, I'm getting all tongue-tied. So I take it you haven't taken part in any of the anti-Xeno stuff that's happening in.
I've been a little busy, mate. We've been a little busy. Azimuth Biotech are now only present in 3 systems.
Oh, good kicking.
which is nice. We've gone down from 5 to 3. It was super nice of Daddy Savlon to move his megaships away from Azimuth home space, therefore freeing up the systems so that we could whack them into retreat. There's only one other system there that we can even put them into retreat because we have it confirmed that Mbuni they're at 100% anyway. They're the only faction in there, so and it's permit locked, so it'd be some miracle to get another faction in there and get that flipped. But T Towery is their home system, and at the moment High Mine is one of those fixed points for just Azimuth to own, so we can't flip that system either. So we have one more system to go, but it's the doozy because it's Maya.
Ooh, that's going to be a fun one. Yeah.
They're at war at Maya in the moment, and all of the conflict zones, both I don't know exactly where the ones in space are because I think the war starts tomorrow. But all of the conflict zones are going to be 300,000 light seconds from the entry star, so it's great.
Oh, that's a long troll. Oh, long haul and a troll at the same time, really, to get there. Okay, Shan.
It's been interesting getting back into AX combat again. One question I did have is, do we know the win conditions for the Thargoid conflict zones? Is it to destroy every single ship that turns up until they stop spawning, or is there a different mechanic that allows us to win?
Well, as far as I'm aware, if you win the conflict zone if you manage to take out everything before the Hydra, because that is marked as a win, because you get one of these green ticks up in the corner. If you are destroyed or you have to retreat before there, I think it doesn't count it as a failure. Or if you're destroyed, it counts as a failure. If you leave, it doesn't. It's kind of neutral.
So you get 1 point for a win, 0 points for a score draw, i.e. jumping out, and -1 point for blowing up. So in that case, then, what happens if you disconnect? Does that count as a score draw?
Score draw, yeah. So basically, I mean, we don't even know whether or not they're counting these things up. I mean, the one thing that we do have to warn people about, as far as the Thargoid anti-Xenos are concerned, I'm fine defending the Federal ship. I'm fine defending the Imperial ship. The Alliance ship, you can go and get destroyed. I don't care. You do not give me fines for just flying about. Because that's one of the issues that people are discovering, is that the megaship, the Alliance megaship, is still issuing fines. Sally did say that they'd put a sneaky fix in to try and fix it. It doesn't seem to work 100% of the time. For most people, they'll still get the fines, but if they do a log out, log back in, the fines disappear and they're not wanted anymore. But for other people, you still end up wanted and hostile, and basically you got a choice of either flipping over to Horizons, jumping to the megaship one system away and using the interstellar factors, because in Discovery you cannot use interstellar factors if the same faction is in the system, which is a pain in the bum. Or you hand yourself in and then jump another 100 light years back to HIP 22460, or you basically get blown up, and then again you're still back to the horrible place and back again. So yeah, it's personally, for as far as lore is concerned, I would seriously like this to have an effect in the lore. I've said this on the forums. I sort of think that maybe that should highlight how badly the Alliance and serious things going if they've got bugs like this in the system.
So if I just want to pick up on that, Colin, also something Si mentioned in the chat is, do we think the results of these conflict zones are going to have an effect on the outcome of the Salvation Azimuth saga, or is this something to keep us busy, so to speak, and that the outcome has already been decided?
I don't know.
And my follow up while we think of that is, if the outcome is to be decided, i.e., we don't know how many conflict zones you need to win, etc., shouldn't there be an in-game leaderboard so we know whether we really need to focus on helping the Alliance ship out or whatever it is, or we know we're falling behind, so therefore we need to make extra effort? Because at the moment it all seems very concealed, so we don't know if we're having an effect or not.
Well, you see, this is the problem because I've got to ask you this, Shan. Would you be happy that all the content that they've had or they've got lined up, they just don't implement it at all if the community wins at certain conditions? Would you be happy with that?
I would be happy knowing they had prepared, say, a win, lose, or draw outcome, and we actually know whether we want. Actually, then people can play if they want a win, lose, or draw outcome. At the moment, the only way to, in quote, lose is not to play, which sounds very war games, but I don't. I just want to know that the time we spend blowing Thargoids up is contributing towards the war effort, if you see what I mean, rather than being a bucket filling exercise.
Well, at the moment, I'm just blowing them up because of fun. Psyche.
I have my opinion on that would be that it potentially, depending on how much of a bucket filling exercise it is, or how much you fill, would potentially make the decision as to who is being helped more or who will help more. If more people, say for example, defend the Federation ship, let's say, and the Federation has 20% more than the Alliance, as far as having war sites won, there's a way to gauge that the winning side there means that the Federation will support more or something along those lines. That would be my takeaway from it, based on previous things that have been done along those lines. I feel like there would be an additional footnote. And I also, in response to the would you be happy if nothing's added in the game, I feel like along the way there have, for example, let's say we need a special handheld weapon for something coming in the future, and there's been a year of dev work for this handheld weapon. We've got the graphics and all of that done, all of the sound is made for it, with sound is excellent and all of that stuff. Say we need this handheld weapon and it's specifically like a Guardian based or an anti-Xeno based weapon. You wouldn't just be able to get that from Salvation. If Salvation isn't successful, there would be a Salvation would do it, your tech brokers might have it, and then also we have Ramtar, we have Palin as well, who are key figures within that Xeno space within Elite, that you could quite easily just shift a logo onto, based on the information and outcome of something. It's the little incidental things that in my opinion will change and be affected by something, rather than just binning off a year's work of dev work on something.
Yeah, because we know that they've lost dev work before because of the way the community acted with CGs in the beginning of the game. Psychic. Sorry, Ben.
I have to admit, I think no matter what we actually want, there's no way to know it. As Shan was alluding to, it's all very quiet as to what the things are. So, Frontier could say we had this planned all along, and you guys helped by doing these actions. But they could just as equally say, well, enough people went off and killed. We had one basilisk killed, therefore Salvation was defended, and his weapon went off and killed everybody. We can't, unless the winning conditions are defined in advance. We've got no way of knowing what the score is.
It's GM fudging, isn't it? There's certain points when you're a GM that in order for the scenario or the game session to progress, you've got to fudge it, and that does hack off some players because they want to go off and do their own thing, and those kind of players GMs absolutely hate because they're thinking, listen, I've spent a week preparing all this for you guys, and you don't want to play it, so why are you playing it? Okay, we'll go back to Shan.
Yeah, a couple of thoughts about win conditions and stuff. This is going into a bit for the main topic, but one thing I would want to say as an example of this is, let's say the alliance, you lose more alliance conflict zones than Imperial or Federation conflict zones. So therefore, Thargoids think, right, the alliance is weakest, we will go for alliance systems first. So you would then choose, if you like, your superpower, which one would cop it, because they lost that CG would be an interesting way to go. And in response to what Sai was mentioning about dev work being lost, as I seem to remember, yes, it happened once or twice, I think, with the...
It happened with Colonia.
Well, I was thinking what happened with...
Emperor's Dawn, would it?
Yeah, well, I was thinking. Well, what I was going to say about items is, I think when some Guardian stuff came out and the AX stuff came out, we chose which AX weapon we wanted first, didn't we? It wasn't you can't have this because you had that. It was which do you want first. The winning CG, if you like, was the one you got first. So it's perfectly possible to have the super duper Raygon and the Thargoid killing already in game, but that would then come later because certain conditions were not met.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Like they wouldn't get rid of they wouldn't, sorry, Colin, I jumped in, my bad. So it wouldn't totally negate all of the work that a dev has done, for example. What it would do, it would just change the momentum effectively and move something around the story and go, okay, so let's say if Salvation absolutely flummoxes it and there's something else in the works and you can't get the things that you wanted, or this big powerful weapons from Salvation anymore, then maybe it's going to be a little bit further down the line, but maybe Ramtar or Palin or the anti-Xeno or the tech brokers and stuff will be beginning to work on that, and then it will disseminate that way, but it won't have little azimuth logos on it and stuff.
Yeah, it just won't happen now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they've learned from the lesson about the cargo racks, which are resistant to what do you call it?
Corrosion.
That's the word, corrosion. We're stuck with 4-ton ones. We were stuck with 4-ton ones because basically a CG happened and it didn't go all that well. So instead of getting 8 tons or 16-ton ones, we ended up with just 4 as the absolute maximum. And that's changed now, but because it's been disseminated into the via the tech brokers. But for absolutely ages, it was an absolute pain if you were stuck with trying to do meta alloy. Well, not meta alloys, but Thargoid probes. What's that about beam lasers, Shan?
Yes, Do you remember a number of years ago now there was a CG where if we won it, it would unlock Class 3 gimbal beam lasers. And that CG then failed, and there was such an uproar because obviously people in Pythons and stuff like that did want their gimbal beam lasers. So eventually, after a couple of weeks of QQ on the forums and Reddit, etc., Frontier then added them back in. So they kind of relented and backed on. I mean, I was happy they added them because, who doesn't want a bigger beam laser? But part of me was also thinking, well, doesn't that negate the effect of failing the CG? But that was an example where Frontier actually did change it based on feedback.
Yeah. Well, so we're going to talk about, obviously, the Thargoid narrative a little bit later, but I think for the moment we will pop over and see what's happening with the store.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art.
And welcome back. Well, for those of you who are fans of the Viper, we now have a new set of acceleration skins. These look, I thought they were the same ones that we've had before, but they're not, because they're in the same color palettes as the star pattern that was, the Captain America star pattern that we saw in before. I must admit, I'm always a fan of the Viper Mark III, and yeah, I think I'm going to end up with one of these. What do you think, Ben?
I was thinking, it's more America Chavez rather than Captain America, but yeah, she likes punching stars and things, doesn't she?
Yes.
I like that red and blue one rather than the white and blue one.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really me, but I don't. The red and blue one's okay. The orange and blue one's horrible.
Yeah, it comes in blue, orange, the one that Anakin hates, sand, green, grey, and red. So yeah, we've got some very pastel-y colours, to be honest. Shan?
Yeah, I'd prefer it if they were bolder colours, I have to admit.
It reminded me of the colours my Adidas football had when I was a kid that had been left outside for a couple of years, with all the colours just faded away. I'm not a huge fan of it, to be fair. I mean, it's inventive. It's again highlighting the change or improvement in technology Frontier put in for ship skins. So I appreciate it from that way, but I don't know. It's just not one for me.
I like it.
Are we sure they're new? Are they definitely new?
I think they are, because the ones that we had before, the star pattern was right down the center of the fuselage. Well, this time it's more off to the side.
Yeah, well, they're the same ones. So you remember you could get the gold one if you finished a CG like a really long time ago. I've got the gold one. There was a CG where the top 75% of participants got like a gold Star Viper skin, and it looks exactly like that, but it's gold and looks and obviously looks a lot nicer. But I thought they came out at the same time of that. I might be entirely mistaken on this. I haven't seen. The only other thing is that I haven't seen a tweet, and there's normally a tweet that goes out from the Elite account if they're brand new. I mean, they're cool enough. They've got stars on them. I'm not gonna lie. I like a star.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they're 100% new. I will quite happily be corrected on that. But they're all right.
I must admit, I've forgotten how good the Viper Mark III was until I saw Ascorbius doing flying around in a souped-up Mark III, doing the tunnel into the planetary cities. You know, there's a tunnel that goes underneath the docking bays and out into the main part of the city, and the idea is to boost through there as fast as you can. And in some of these souped-up Mark IIIs, you're hitting 700, 800 meters a second and trying to get through the slot, so to speak. I think there was a lot of wreckage.
I was scratching my head through this thing, and I'm reasonably sure that the red one is like the Homelander costume from The Boys.
That's one thing that I have not caught up with yet.
Colin.
The Boys has passed me by.
Colin.
You do need to resolve that, Colin.
Yeah, well, Psychic's still got to catch up with Babylon 5 and Battlestar Galactica yet.
Oh, it will be a cold day in hell.
Yeah, I've got to finish The Expanse first. That's what I've got to do. Anyway,
I'll agree with that.
Who was that? Was that Shan?
Yeah, how could you not have finished The Expanse by now?
Because life gets in the way of things.
You'll be telling me you haven't caught up with Better Call Saul next.
That's my job.
For Strange New Worlds to all that, to be honest. And I must admit, after seeing Strange New Worlds' latest episode, I was completely blown away by that. So,
yes, you need to work from home more so you can get time to watch this.
I'm quite sure my job would love to hear that. Yeah. So moving on from there, we're going to take a short break, and we'll come back with our main discussion.
Are you struggling with paying fines? Do you lose sleep in hyperspace worrying about docking at the next space station? If the answer is yes, then you need to call Cowell & McGrath Fine Management Services.
I got scanned while in Federation space and was caught carrying slaves. It was an unexpected expense that I couldn't afford on top of my fines for damage caused whilst docking.
We can help you consolidate all your existing fines into a single large fine, payable in regular instalments at what is almost a competitive interest rate.
I called Cowell & McGrath Fine Management Services, and they helped me pay my existing fines before I got a bounty on my head. They really saved my life.
At Cowell & McGrath, we've helped thousands of pilots whose fines had spiralled out of control.
I dared not go near a police star system. Got so desperate that I'd almost resigned myself to a life of piracy. Luckily, I found Cowell & McGrath's services before I actually murdered anyone in cold blood.
No fines too big, no criminal record too damning. We're here to help you, no questions asked. Find us in the Lave business directory.
I'd got into debt as a result of a massive counter lawsuit by Watt and Prittney. It happened because I'd taken advice on Python protection insurance from... Wait a minute! It was you!
Cowell & McGrath. Minimum liability, zero accountability. Warning, balances may go up as well as down. Missed payments may lead to repossession of your ship, seizure of cargo, or the issuing of a death warrant.
Dreams. Humanity's dreams. The hope to live among the stars. From early times, we've gazed up to the heavens and wondered if one day we could travel there. Maybe even live there. The Brewer Corporation has made this dream a reality. Constructing intricate cathedrals of metal, circling numerous planets across thousands of systems in our human bubble. Why stay rooted in a gravity well when you can be free in orbit, free to dream, free to live, and one day to become a commander and be free to blaze your own trail. Brewer Corporation, the first step into the unknown. Come join us. Be free.
This is a public service announcement from the Fuel Rats. Please stop what you're doing and pay attention. If we can rescue you, we will, but you can help us help you by following these easy steps. 1. Fly 50 light seconds or so from the system's main star and drop out of Supercruise. 2. Note down the current system and the nearest stellar body. 3. If you're on emergency life support, log out immediately. 4. Go to fuelrats.org and click Get Help. 5. Stay calm, hold your breath, and let our seasoned professionals do what they do best. The Fuel Rats. We have fuel, you don't. Any questions?
And welcome back. Now, before we carry on with this, and I'm going to dread this, Shan would like to make a important public service announcement for your own pleasure.
Well, actually, it's more for yours, Colin. It's about the health of the Xeno Bunny. People think, oh, dogs get really hot and you should look after your dog and not walk it on pavements and stuff like that. But apparently, rabbits, too, are actually very poor at maintaining body temperature in heat, and it can actually kill them.
Yes, that's quite true.
So there are some tips I found for the Xeno Bunny.
Okay. If this involves a hammer at any one point in time, this conversation has ended.
No. So it's apparently you put a wet towel around on top of the rabbit enclosure, so it's kind of like keeps the temperature down inside the thing.
Yep.
You can put ice underneath it, keep it cool. You can mist the rabbit's ears with gentle sort of spring water. You can shave them.
Nope, that's not going to happen.
And overweight rabbits, and more than 5 years old. So make sure the Xeno Bunny is well looked after in the heat.
Yes, he is. His hutch is well ventilated. We've hosed it down from time to time to make sure that he stays cool. Especially on Friday, it looks as if he deflated. It's the best way. He's a deflated ball of fur in the back garden. So basically,
Did he turn into liquid?
Near enough.
My cat's turned into liquid. One of my cats has been liquid since about the middle of last week, and he shows no sign of improving.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, we've actually had rain today in Manchester. There's a surprise. It's supposed to be completely and utterly bone dry for the next 2 weeks, but today we had rain in Manchester.
We had rain in Birmingham, and there was rain in Sheffield too.
We had a little tiny bit of rain in Wales as well.
Yeah, I can't work that out because we had rain too. How can it be this hot and humid and still rain at the same time?
Global warming!
Yes, climate change. There you go.
Hang on, fake news.
No,
Fake
at the same
news.
time. At the same time.
Ah, dear. Right. Well, after that public service announcement, I will point out that we are having to look after our bunny. Those of you who are Xeno Bunny fans, don't worry about him. He's fine. He's apart from the fact he's given me evils because I just put him in his hutch. Right.
He missed his ears, Colin. That'll help him.
Moving on. It's an interesting subject that we kind of got into it a little bit, talking about the current activity that's happening at the moment. But effectively, main question I've got to ask is the Thargoids narrative. What do you think's going to happen next? And so we'll put on your tin hat alert, everybody. So rampant speculation. I'm going to start with Psychic because Psychic always is as good.
I've just gone back through, and over the last couple of days, I've gone all the way back through, sort of like chronologically, the Azimuth saga, as it were, and stepped like through time, and it's been really interesting to go back and look at everything that happened from oh, we know who Caleb Wycherley is now, and we know all of this. What do I think is next for sort of Thargoids?
Mm-hmm.
Big Thargoids, like big Thargoids, I'm expecting, and very small Thargoids, like micro Thargoids. Darren told me that my tinfoil was too tight. He did, but that was when I suggested that Salvation was funding the NMLA.
How about Salvation is a Thargoid?
No.
Oh no,
No.
that would be the ultimate. Oh, get lost.
The thing that I found really interesting was you mentioned like the Salvation stratagem and that thing that dropped on the 7th of July, that Gownet article. In that Gownet article, he mentions that he's the reason that Planet 10B is locked down is because they're currently setting up their weapon of mass Goid destruction.
Yes.
On Thargoid barnacle, well, on the barnacle sites, is that right? Not barnacles, on like those the site, the Thargoid sites that we have there on that planet. There's two of them.
There's 2 Thargoid sites and there's 1 Guardian site. So
There isn't though.
I thought there was.
No, it says Guardian, but there isn't anything there. Unless anybody tried to find it from the outside, it literally says Thargoid 2 and Guardian 1. I assumed that that was the Overlook that it was referencing, and the Overlook was actually just packed full of Guardian stuff, and that's why it was registering as a Guardian item. However, I've been reliably informed by a number of people that has there have been like Thargoid and Guardian and things that have shown up as Guardian when people have actually flown to them has come up as Thargoid. So it might be a bug that hasn't been fixed for God knows how long, or it might actually exist and we're just like blissfully unaware that there is something else Guardian on these planets that we're not actively paying too much attention to. We know categorically what happens when you shove a Guardian relic into a Thargoid site. We've seen it happen.
Yes. Oh yes, we have.
We've seen it happen.
Even, haven't we?
Yeah, it breaks. It breaks, everything goes red, and you're like, oh shit, what have I done? That kind of thing. It's not your pretty stars anymore. So imagine at least 2 weeks that we know of things, Guardian artifacts taken to one of these bases. Imagine the response that that Guardian base is going to have when you try setting that up. I am excited to see what happens. I hope it results in big ass Thargoids.
Yeah, I'm hoping for big ass Thargoids as well. But right, well, okay, Shan.
What do I expect? It's tricky because it can go either way, and my hope is that Frontier have been working studiously behind the scenes, and they're going to release a new variety of Thargoid interceptor, mothership, whatever. So that would be my hope. My gut feel, though, is that such release will be further on down the line. What I would really want to see is the second variety of Thargoid turn up.
Yes, then this is quite interesting, isn't it? Well, there's 2 kinds of Thargoid apparently. Oh, go on, Ben. I can hardly hear you. Breaking up a bit.
Is it Klaxians, the other kind?
They are, yes, because the ones we've seen are the Arisians, apparently.
Well, how do we know?
Well, yeah.
Well, nobody said.
Salome told us.
Who told us?
Salami.
No, I don't think This is one thing, and I think we'll have to ask Pete or any other lore masters out there.
Like it.
Very knowledgeable
Yes,
about the law. What?
yeah. Are we actually? Have they ever mentioned the kind of breed of Thargoid that we're dealing with? Because there's supposed to be two forms of Thargoid, one of which is basically there's been a I don't know, a faction split within the Thargoids, and one lost, and they might be using as a meat shield against the other.
Yes.
What was that in? Just for
Out of
confirmation.
it was Out of Darkness, an official Elite Dangerous novel.
Which means it's fully sanctioned by Frontier.
Yeah. So,
but it was more than that. I thought there wasn't it. I thought they were mentioned in previous Elite games. I think because
no,
I wouldn't count anything in League games.
No, you can't account anything in that, Shan, because the official position on that from Michael Brooks when they were putting all the lore together was effectively, yeah, we're taking some bits from the original games, but you can't use the original games as the lore all the way through.
So they retconned it.
They have retconned it, yes.
I would also argue that official licensed novels are set in the Elite Dangerous world. I wouldn't necessarily rely on them being canonical, despite like being licensed and being cited as official canon is incredibly different. Now, whether they were at some point.
I think in Star Trek terms, I'd call it beta canon rather than alpha canon.
Yeah.
I have to point out in this case that with Alan and with Drew and with all the authors, they had to go through a stringent process to make sure that their story ideas fitted in with what was happening with the background. So if, for instance, this split of Klaxine and whatever the other faction of Thargoids wasn't official, it wouldn't have been allowed into the novel. And there was an awful lot going on. In fact, actually, you can probably ask Alan about how canon those novels are at LaveCon.
All the more reason for people to go to LaveCon and ask. I personally would much rather see things in game, and you see the things that we've been told in game rather than things that we've read in books, because not everybody will read the books.
I
do that.
I completely agree.
I would lean towards the things that we have been told, sort of like canonically within the game space.
Well, this is the thing about canonically within the game space, is that I don't know whether or not they've actually mentioned these two separate breeds of Thargoid, these two factions. It's just Thargoids.
I can't say that they have in game, no.
So, yeah, well,
But the two breeds of Thargoids have been in there. They've been in since. Oh, hasn't that been in ever since the Dark Wheel?
I thought it was a species that would like a Thargoid in a Dark Wheel,
if
rather
it's
than the second.
You've got to forget about the Dark Wheel, because the Dark Wheel in the original game had whole loads of alien species in, as well as humans. And David Braben has gone on record as saying, actually, no, that's not what the Elite Dangerous was. That's not what's in the Elite Dangerous galaxy. As far as we're concerned, there are only 3 races that we know of, and that is the Guardians,
sentient races.
Humans, yeah, sentient races. So there was a passage in the Dark Wheel which did say, no, you don't mix up this race with Thargoids, because basically they're deadly enemies.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
that's not canon anymore.
But what I was going to say is that if you were to introduce a second variety of Thargoid, now would be the time to do it, if you see what I mean, because it would be that would be an opportune moment to avoid it after, to introduce it after what we thought was the nasty Thargoids are gone, and the ones that have been picking on them for thousands of years turn up, who are actually worse. that would be the time to do it, I think, if they were going to. What I think will happen in the short term, I think we'll get more conflict zones with more and more Thargoids with more hit points.
Yeah. Okay, Ben, your turn. What would you like? What do you think's going to happen?
You know what I want? You know those bases that we explored with the map room and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I want them to rise out the ground and kick our asses.
Yes, I
That's
mean
what I want.
that is that is a theory, because basically when you actually look at the shape of the base, it's as if someone has taken a Thargoid, uh, a Hydra,
Yeah.
expanded it to double the size, and just
Oh,
slapped
it's
it down on a
expanded its
planet.
capital ship size, and then it's on the planets. And it would fit in with the shadows and things like that, burying their ships and stuff. Although they didn't do a very good job of burying their ships.
Oh yeah, I got
The
you.
Thargoids didn't anyway.
Didn't someone rather naughtily examine the game files and come up with another name for a Thargoid vessel?
There has been a naughty looking.
Yeah, that had. You see, this is the thing. I didn't want to bring this one up, to be honest, because there have been a couple of YouTubers who have dug through the files, and just like they discovered in the files, obviously stuff about the Scorpion, when before it was basically ready, and also there has been images of people flying around with the Panther Clipper. It's those files just get everybody really upset, and I think really set the expectations too high. And yeah, that's why I don't like talking about some of these things that are hidden in the files.
The thing is, though, about the files is very often they're remnants of something that's completely unrelated. Or if the developers ain't like me, I would put names in there in the files just to troll people.
Well, we've also got to bear in mind that the devs have as much as admitted they will partially work on something and then leave it in that state until they're ready to actually deal with it.
Yeah, so it's an unreliable
Yeah.
method.
Yeah,
Completely
because
unreliable.
it is, and this is why I get a little bit annoyed about it, because people then get. I mean, look how excited everybody got. I mean, admittedly, I was one of them, but we all got excited when we thought we discovered what were cutscenes in the game files, and everyone's thinking, "Look, we're getting cutscenes with Princess Aisling Deval, and oh, that looks good. It's going to mean mission packs and all that kind of thing." And everyone got really, really excited, and then nothing happened with it.
Yeah.
And it's the same with the leak. You remember that leak 2 years ago, and it was supposed to
The one
be.
that turned out to be right, apart from base building.
Well, yeah, but everybody wanted base building as well. And when base building wasn't anywhere in their plans, everyone just went, "Huh."
Although it could have been. You see, that's the whole point about these game files being historical. Base building could have been part of their plans and was removed when they realised it wasn't possible, or they wasn't gameplay fun, or for whatever reason. So yeah, don't believe game files. And there's the same actually for the Thargoids that people have unearthed as well in game files. Until I see one, I'll take it with a pinch of
Until it's
salt.
in game, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, like as Ben says, that they've admitted that yes, there are stuff that they've been working on, but the project didn't work out for gameplay reasons. But that those game files are still in the in the system. They haven't purged them, so to speak. So you do get mentions of the Panther Clipper and things like that, but especially in the NPC pilots. If you check through, some NPC pilots said, "Yes, I cut my teeth on the Panther Clipper," and everyone's there going, "And where's the Panther Clipper?" So yeah,
Yeah. And as Little Bergen says, every time anyone mentions the Panther Clipper, it's delayed by 6 years.
yes, it's the same about 100 credits for the Anaconda over in the over in Hutton Orbital. But you only get your Anaconda once they build the landing pads that can handle it. Shan, go on.
Well, actually, I was thinking rather tongue-in-cheek and mischievously, what I would do for the next phase of Thargoids is I would have a special Destroy the Thargoid Leviathan event between Friday and Sunday of this week.
Thank you, Shan.
Psychic.
The thing that just struck me as really funny was that Shan, you brought up the game files and then at the end rounded up with saying, yeah, but we don't really want to talk about game files. That was amazing, and please do that more often because I'm going to take that to the bank.
Well, no, the two's not contradictory because both are factual. Both are factual. People did bring out Leviathan in the game files.
Yeah, but you were like, let's talk about that Leviathan, and then yeah, but you don't want to trust the Leviathan, and you don't want to talk about the game files. It was just really contradictory, and it made me giggle. So thank you for that. Yeah, no, it's interesting. I just think that's really interesting that that you'd like to see something come in and then get destroyed straight away. It's an interesting thing.
Well, I was saying tongue in cheek because it's LaveCon weekend, so
yeah, it's still a possibility. You have something like Giant in the game, and then all of the thing that made me another thing that made me laugh was we had someone come and join the Operation Witch Hunt, and I know they were just being a bit of a troll, but they were like, I really want Salvation to succeed because this anti-Xena gameplay has been really, really fun. I want Salvation to succeed with his weapon. And I'm like, but his weapon is supposed to be wiping out all the Thargoids if you're paying attention to everything that you're doing. So that's going to remove all of that gameplay. Of course, it's not going to remove all of that gameplay, just FYI, because it's a really integral part of the game. And it's all going to go tits up, and big Mama Goid is coming.
I mean, this is the thing, though, because what I just said sparked a thought of in me was, if this is, in quotes, the final chapter of Thargoids, what would replace it? Because there's an awful lot of gameplay and things with AX builds and the whole thing. If that suddenly stopped, what would replace it that would keep players as engaged? And I'm not sure anything there is.
Guardians. Yeah, you've got the Guardian fighters. Yeah, give us some Guardian capital ships and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, we'd have to wait for that. I mean, personally, what I would like to see, I mean, I don't know whether this is going to happen. Obviously, I think I like the way it's kind of ramped up a little bit more, where it starts off right. I'm putting all my ships on the system. We're going to start building up. The Thargoids have now moved in. There are hints that because we're doing stage 2, there's going to be more Thargoids coming this way. Brace yourself. That was in today's news. I'm hoping that this Thursday, on the Thursday tick, we get some kind of big Thargoids stroke capital ship size, as Ben has said, just to basically to scare people. Now, obviously, I've got no idea if this is going to happen, because I know how much work that it would take to put this in. But then again, they have been working on this for absolutely ages, and I'm hoping that it is not destructible. You basically fly around it, and you can't touch it just yet. Psych it.
This has just killed me. New Thargoids with fake beards and glasses. They're not actually called Thargoids, though. They're called Margoids.
Also, yeah, the Thargoids. Yeah, we're not, or that's when they could turn around and say, actually, yes, you've just been fighting the Klaxians. Well, here comes the other ones.
So would they have Three Stooges noses, the fake nose and glasses on the front, where the cockpit would be? You'd have to
basically
Thargoids in a trench coat.
Oh, God.
Oh, it's BoJack Horseman all over again, isn't it?
Oh,
as Katie
Nelson
said, are they
Trumbull.
from Margate? Are Margoids from Margate?
Oh dear. No, what I'm thinking of, you've now put something in my head. I've now got a Cyclops coming towards me, but in the cockpit, it's got blaming the Groucho Marx, a Groucho Marx face on it, with the cigar and the moustache and the glasses. It's
Well,
the
he
eyebrows.
makes moan noises, from the Three Stooges.
Yeah. So, well, we're hoping that there's going to be some escalation then, before it moves on to the. Before it moves on, do you think that this? Oh, someone's photoshopping already. Do you think they're going to stretch this out until basically the August update, and then, boom, we're into a new Thargoid war?
I think so,
And
yes.
If it's August, I think they can just about stretch it that far. If it's any later than August, it starts to wear a bit thin, I think. So I'll give them August when they said they'll do it, because it makes kind of sense. Past that, not sure.
yeah,
No,
know what?
no, I don't think they're going to stretch it until August.
You don't think so? You
No.
think
Only
it's
2
all
weeks
going to
away.
kick off this Thursday?
No, I'm not saying it's going to kick off this Thursday, but my reasoning behind it not being until August is reasons of gold paint. That's my only reason at the moment, is because where can you now subsequently go with rewards? Now you're giving out gold azimuth paint jobs.
Well,
Do you know what I mean?
Since you described it as a Pikachu face,
Definitely a Pikachu face.
I would have thought bright yellow would be the place to go after gold.
I mean, there is definitely something that you could use. Don't worry, talk amongst yourselves.
We can have platinum.
Platinum, diamond.
Yeah.
But there's no
An
pattern for
Obsidian.
that.
Or as Little Biggie said, it will be a lump of green.
Purest green. Adamantium.
Yeah, Daddy's Avalon.
Dear. Anyway, so, I mean, how do you feel that the plot has been unfurling? I mean, I've been thoroughly enjoying it. What about you three? Let's start with Ben.
Yeah, as you say, I've been enjoying it. I'll be interested. Yeah, I'm not massively surprised that we had another CG. I don't want to sound like I'm being critical here, but I want surprises.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, I feel like I'm being teased a lot, and I'm now getting okay. I'm having enough of the teases. Let's see
Yeah,
the
it's time
goods.
it's time to put out.
That's just that's not what I meant, Ben. But you know what I mean, right?
You
Shan.
want art to put out, admit it.
I learned the lesson from Game of Thrones, where the build-up is really cool and really amazing, and they completely mess the landing up of the story. So I'm going to withhold my final judgment until it's concluded.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
yeah. I must admit, I'm getting at the moment. I'm getting hope. I'm getting Final Fantasy hopeful vibes, because at the moment, Final Fantasy VII is my game for where they do build up properly and they stick the landing. And if they can manage to get that feeling, that'd be great. Chef's kiss. What about you, Psyche? You obviously enjoying kicking Salvation's butt.
I think it's really fun. My feeling is, we had this conversation a little bit earlier as well, that I feel that Operation Witch Hunt in itself has got a really good has had a really good I've got content for that planned until August, so I'm fine either way. Also, thank you, Golden Samurai. That's a really lovely thing for you to say. I really appreciate that. But obviously, I'm invested. I'm I don't really do things by halves, and it's a really fun story. So.
Yep. Yeah, and Shan.
No, that was what I was going to say about how I had my hopes raised by Game of Thrones and was let
That's of
down.
course.
So
Yeah. Sorry.
I'm just going to wait for the end.
Okay, right. Well, we will hopefully wait and see whether things escalate on Thursday, because that's obviously the next bit. And yeah, so I think we'll pop over to the community corner. Oh, hang on. You want to talk about the illusion of choice, Ben?
Yeah, it's just something that I've been feeling a bit about with this, and we've got it a little bit with Psychic's thing as well. It's like, I feel like if I want to, in inverted commas, get involved with the storyline of Elite Dangerous at the moment, then I have to be in HIP 22460. I have to be helping Daddy Savlon. I have to be killing.
So I call him by his proper name.
Daddy
Savlon. I have to be killing Thargoids and doing these things that I don't really want to be doing.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm enjoying doing it, but it's not what Commander Edelweiss would actually be doing. I would be.
The only way to win is not to play, isn't it? If you're on the Thargoid side.
Yeah.
Or let me offer you a counter option if you're on the Thargoid side.
We can help.
Come and join in with bashing.
Yes, but then everyone get Pikachu faces and things like that.
Well, I don't have a Pikachu face to give you, Ben.
Exactly. Daddy Savlon does.
Well, why don't you keep getting your stuff from your Daddy Savlon then?
But that's what I'm meaning. I wish that. I mean, this goes all the way back. We were told originally that the Thargoids won't just be a one-dimensional bad guy. You can interact with them in a multitude of ways, and we can. It was alluded that we'd be able to potentially have a constructive relationship with them.
Actually, you got to remember. If I remember rightly, when we asked Michael Brooks, Michael Brooks said that the Thargoids probably would be the big bad. However, and I really do wish he hadn't said this. He said, when someone asked him, "Is it possible for us to peacefully coexist with them?" He said, "It's difficult, but it might be possible." And it's that to me just opened up this window where everybody just went, but there's a possibility somewhere, and I just feel, no.
Yeah, but I really wish that there had been the options of actually having a constructive relationship with Thargoids and a destructive one.
The thing is, though, Ben, that's really, really, really hard to code. It's much easier to code a combat mechanic than a diplomatic one, particularly when unless you have people GMing it behind the scenes all the time. It's really, really hard to do.
Yeah, and that is the problem because.
But this goes into so many aspects of so many games, frankly.
Well,
I wish we only have the option to basically supply salvation. Why can't I have a CG to supply a militia that will go off and actively attack salvation? Say, and why can't I go? But I want competing CGs, and whoever wins.
The thing is, though, and the issue with that, though, Colin, the issue with that is that we had the opportunity to fight salvation, and you're talking about when Admiral Tanner. Am I right in thinking that? Okay, that was pre the discovery of the Alexandria.
Yeah, but I'll still fight for Admiral Tanner because I knew that something was wrong.
I didn't fight for either because I was like, you know what? Let's let them fight and see what happens.
Yeah, they're both twats.
Yeah, exactly.
In theory, you can do that, though. I mean, yes, it's stymied a bit by solo and private group, but you can stop salvation or prevent it by killing players who is trying to bring the artifacts.
Yeah, but then you've got to make the thing is you've got to make that completely clear to them why you're doing it, and you're not just ganking for ganking's sake, because
Yeah.
people will just think that.
Well, they're always going to anyway.
Yeah, and
You may as well. You can by every stretch of every imagination out there. You can go, oh yeah, but if someone has a macro that they click to before they gank you, saying, oh, we're here to stop you from delivering these things to the terrible salvation, and then shoot them. Does that stop it being a gank at that point? Because at that point, when they've clicked that macro and that sign that message has gone up, that's enough time for a combat log or something like that. So, do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but I will agree with the code had this right. Basically, they would give you a warning. You got 2 warnings. Basically, I'm drop your cargo. Last warning, drop your cargo, and if not, then they opened fire and fired off the hatch breakers. If say for instance to me, someone had come around and say drop your cargo, or leave the system, otherwise you'll be fired upon, then I know I'd be in a role playing situation. However, most people don't do that, and even if people sea log, that to me is fine. You have gone and you've gone and taken not
You've
the
run them
high
out.
ground, but you've given them the warning. It is to say, right, it's to do. The only reason I'm doing this is because of I'm against salvation. Otherwise, this wouldn't be happening.
But that doesn't stop them then delivering the artifacts when they relog in again. And that's not also how, I mean, I love what Code did with the whole role playing, drop your cargo, etc. But that's not how it works now. Most people they'll get interdicted and they'll immediately high wake or whatever by the time you've done it. And it just makes the whole thing. Most players, I'm going to make a bit of a broad statement, which as people know is very unusual for me, but most players do not engage in what people would call role playing. They get interdicted. They think, "Oh crap, I'm interdicted," and they immediately try and run away. And by that time, even if you put "drop your cargo" or "we'll shoot," they won't take any notice because they just want to get away and do their thing. And that's a shame, but that's just how it is.
No, I'll agree with that. 90%, 99% of the time, that happens. But with the code, as a prime example, that actually worked quite well. It did, until you got, if you weren't used to it, it still felt like a gank to begin with. But if you got into it and role played the situation, those guys, it played out.
But the percentage of role play pirates versus people who just interdict you and blow you up in the instance is very low. So you might as well just not bother.
I got no problem with people high waking away. I mean, that's just following the game's mechanics. I mean, combat logging, I'm not too happy about, but because it's combat logging. Anyway, I think it's time to move on because we've got some community stuff to cover over. Now, is there something important happening this weekend?
Not that I've heard of. I've not been excited about anything at all in the time.
I believe the UK is still under a heatwave.
Oh yeah, we've got that. We're just gonna have to keep warm, keep cool. Imagine.
I thought it was the Milton Keynes sauna, wasn't it? The Milton Keynes sauna event? Is that what you're thinking of?
Yes, it is. So, obviously, I'm talking about LaveCon. This Friday, it starts this Friday with an ambassadors meeting, and of course, Saturday we have a whole load of things happening at in the Milton Keynes hotel, and we'll also have episode 399. I do believe we're getting some of the old crew together to talk about things.
Yeah, I believe we're blowing the dust off.
Yeah, I got no idea what they're going to be talking about. Mind you,
Today,
on Sunday, with this episode 400, and I've got no idea what we're going to be talking about there either. But yes,
Yeah,
so we will be hitting 400 for LaveCon this year. I know
with
that
a bit,
Shan's
with a bit of
over that.
with a bit of fancy jiggery, but yeah.
Yeah, jiggery. Oh, come on, we've done enough conclaves and
Exactly.
retro.
Normally we don't do a show the week of LaveCon, and we've had to shoehorn this in.
Yes, but it's been worth it, dear listeners, hasn't it?
It's been
Has it though?
fun.
Has it though?
Yes, yes,
a
it has.
quick question. Colin, Ben, when did you join Lave Radio? What episode number?
I've got no idea of the episode number. It was. It would have been
80
just
something.
Just after.
Why
Just
did you-
after. What do you call it? The thing
I
in the
have
place
no
in
idea.
the LaveCon 2013. Then we joined Then we joined Retro Lave, and then we joined Lave Radio proper, I guess.
So, are you the pensioner of the crew then, Ben? Have you been here the longest?
Ben has actually been on one more episode than me, if I remember rightly.
I think there was one Retro Lave that I beat you on. I was on one Retro Lave and you weren't. But,
Something like that. Yes.
Something like that.
Why do you want to know?
Well, because I remember trying rather unsuccessfully to motivate Frontier to help us for episode 200, which means
Was it 300, wasn't it?
No, it's 200. Because we had part 1, 2, and 3, but part 3 never happened because Frontier ran out of care, or Ed Lewis couldn't organise.
It got lost.
Yeah, but anyway, so I was just thinking, because that means you've been putting up with me for over 3.5 years. That was where it was coming from. So I was just wondering how long other people had to put up with you lot.
Yeah.
Well, I think. I mean, I know that me and Ben have been actually doing this for a lot longer than the original crew have.
We have now, and I don't know. But actually, verging on a train wreck. I still have imposter syndrome, don't you, Colin?
Nope.
Okay.
Oh, I do. I can't expect to sack every week.
I still feel. Well, that's just you, Shan. Yeah, I still
Don't worry,
feel.
Shan. We always talk about you behind your back anyway. It's fine.
I still feel that Alan, Fozzer, John, and Jarvis should show up and actually start talking. But then Alan, Fozzer, John, and Jarvis will probably show up at LaveCon and be like, "It's been 5 years since I last booted up Elite Dangerous."
Yeah, it'll be something along those lines. Yeah.
Yeah. What is this Odyssey stuff and things like that?
I think February last year. I think it was around then, February, March time.
Well,
fucking long, if you tell me.
Oh, yeah, no. Now you've got me looking things up through the web, the website. I think, Ben, you're on. I think it's earlier than episode 65.
I don't know.
So
I have no idea, Colin.
It's phenomenally long time. God,
it is a scarily long time.
Yes. So we have several things happening at the same time. We've obviously got the main room where people will. Obviously, the main presentation's happening. The entire thing is sponsored by our good old friends at Spider-Man Games. So, if you want to have a word with John and Oliver, who's done the Elite Dangerous RPG, then feel free.
I believe they still have a Kickstarter going. So, if you want to support them, go and do stuff in the Kickstarter. And that's me telling you to do this, not them telling me to tell you to do it. If that makes any sense, because they specifically said we don't want to come on and tell everyone to go stuff. Because if they want to buy stuff, they'll know about it already. They'll be buying it.
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah. But we love John and Oliver, don't we?
Yeah. So obviously there are several different activities. We've got Artemis happening. I think Stephen Usher has arranged the retro room, so you can have a look at basically old games. There's the games room, which has EDRPG sessions running. I'm afraid to say I don't think I'll have time to bring down them.
And things.
Oh yeah, battle cards, and I haven't seen battle cards in action yet. I think the last time everybody was there with prototypes for it at the
Yes.
last LaveCon, but I've never seen an official set yet. I don't think they were there. It wasn't released properly because there was still that blooming copyright issue that they had to sort out.
Okay. Right. I will let you borrow my set until the next time we meet. I
Yeah.
assume you'll be able to play with your son. Play it with your son or something like that. Yes.
Well, we'll see. He doesn't want to play X-Wing miniatures anymore with me now, so I know.
Is he too much of a teenager now to play games with his dad?
Yes, he is now.
Right.
And basically, I stopped. I stopped pulling my punches and started beating him, so he didn't like that.
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think I'll be able to bring the miniatures games down this time because it takes so long to set up and put away. And I just really want to say hello to everybody instead of being stuck in the games room all Sunday. So, yeah, Shan?
Yeah, I just want to say really how much I'm looking forward to seeing people again, because this will be our first physical LaveCon for 3 years, or the third time. So I'm really looking forward to it because it's just great to meet people and just chat to people face to face and that. So I'm just really glad we've got this COVID thing.
Talking about this COVID thing.
Don't say things like that.
PSA for people coming to the event: please take your masks with you. There are people who are regulars to LaveCon who are immunocompromised, and they will thank you for not running around with an open face, spluttering all over them.
So are masks advisable then for that reason, or what's
Masks are advisable, yes.
Like it.
I was going to say that there's something that is that's really nice, and it's been observed that there are so many people coming to this LaveCon who it is their first LaveCon as well. I mean, there's obviously there's quite a lot of regulars who haven't been for ages and are really looking forward to that side, like Shan. But there are this huge swathe of people like myself and lots of other folks who are coming for their first LaveCon. So I'm really excited to see them and meet everybody and find out what this nonsense is all about.
Yeah, if you pop over to the HWS events .co.uk website, Karen has put up the timetable for LaveCon. So if you want to find out what's happening on Friday and what Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you can find out there. Especially there's a couple of good. Oh, thanks, Shan. Shan's just put it in the chat, so that you can actually see where everything is happening.
Hint, hint, hint. You want to make sure that you come to the content creators panel at 12 o'clock on Saturday, don't they, Psychics?
I mean, that'll be a fun one, I think. I think also you're going to be there anyway, so there's the Frameshift Live that's also happening, and like lots of other things. The quiz, that sounds like it might be fun. I'm just literally talking about the stuff that I'm involved in.
Yeah, our sister station, the Hutton Orbital Truckers, they will be doing a show at 9:30, and then unfortunately for anybody who likes good taste, Dockers is on
A
at
show
11.
that we shall not name.
But we just did.
Oh.
But yes.
Do you think we can press gang Psychic into it?
Listen,
we know she's got a potty mouth.
I'd love to.
Right. Okay, Psychic, thank you very much for volunteering. I will let Simon know.
I would absolutely love to, by all means.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, and for those of you who have missed it, the we have an abracadabra.
Abracadabra. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't say it either, can you?
Abracadabra.
Yes, that's the one. So that will be competition which will be running on the Sunday. And also, for those of you who have been listening to the Dex Legacy, there'll be a special talk by Emily Inkpen about the Dex Legacy there on the Sunday as well. I think it's a Sunday. So, yeah. So looking forward to seeing you all. If you see one of the Lave Radio crew, please don't beat us up.
Yeah. Also, if you see a Frontier staffer, don't beat them up either.
Yeah. So, right. Saturday, 9:00. Oh, for Emily Inkpen. There you go. I've just been told the proper time.
7 o'clock.
1900. Yeah.
1900. Yeah.
You said 9 o'clock.
No, oh, did I? Oh,
You did.
yes.
We knew what you meant, Colin. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but nobody else did. That was the problem. Right. Let's move on from LaveCon. There are a couple of community items coming on, but I think we will leave them until Sunday's show, because then we've got other things to talk about, amongst other things. What's been happening? There's actually quite a few things being added to the community events on the Frontier website. So that's always useful to see. But we do have a mostly clueless section. First of all, we've got a hint from Domzilla 2112. He says, a good alternative to manufactured material gathering at Dad's Hope is to shoot and destroy beluga liners visiting the hot Jupiter tourist beacon on call 285 sector RF-C B14-7B. It's an anarchy system, so weapons hot. So as long as you've got no morals whatsoever about killing innocent people sightseeing, then yes, go and enjoy your manufactured material gathering.
So what was that, Colin? What was that? That's a good tip. I like that tip.
Oh, it's in the show notes. You'll be able to see that. The show notes, which are posted on laveradio.com every time.
I was just saying, I because it used to be pharmaceutical isolators you could blow up by using type 9s in anarchy systems, couldn't you?
Yes, I think it was. So yeah. Other than that, we've got Commander MK Vine on Discord. Now this seems to be in response to some of the things that he noticed about the reviews that he's been reading. He says most of the negative views I've come across are actually from experienced players, and of the I'm a million owner of fleet carriers and running around bases or collect or steal stuff is not for me variety. For some, Odyssey is a bit of a culture shock and not the elite they expected or want. I can understand that to a degree. For those that say it's a massive grind, and there are many, I can tell them that most of my mats come from regular gameplay missions, and I've managed to get all my gear upgraded and done in about 8 weeks. So obviously someone who didn't even need ED engineer there, or the material helper. I don't know how he's managed it, because I must admit I am looking at the on-foot engineering and thinking, well, it's not really needed at the moment. Though that might change after August. Right. Now, do we have any other business? I do believe someone had something. Ben, you discovered something about from NASA.